What's going on, everybody? This is Clint with the Die Hard MMA podcast. This podcast was filmed exclusively for odds.com. Be sure to click the link below. Check it out. We've got everything that you need over there. We've got you covered for every sport. Thank you so much for the support and good luck on all your action this week. All right. We are at the co-main event, which kind of can't believe I'm saying that. We're at the co-main event of a UFC pay-per-view. Women's flyweight, the return of Maycee Barber taking on Alexa Grasso. Matt, they have got to have some serious faith in the pull of Maycee Barber in her return fight to stick her in this slot, don't you think?
Yeah, boy, I like Maycee Barber. I just think I know the UFC wants her to be a star. I want her to be a star. I'll tell you who the UFC used to want to be a star, Alexa Grasso. Remember way back when the UFC started hosting cards in Mexico? That's when they signed Grasso. And they rushed her up a bit because they actually had her headline a card in Mexico City. And the idea was she was so pretty and she had such a great game with her stand-up and her kickboxing that if she could have become a star, and again, let's face it, the UFC is really smart in saying, we need to develop 3 to 5 stars for every big country we're going to host events in, so that when we go there to host events, we have big, attractive draws to put at the top of the card. Yeah, I mean, it's really simple why they want to promote her. And she's been sort of hit or miss. Win, lose, win, lose, win, lose her last 7 fights for Alexa Grasso. And I like Maycee Barber. I think that she needed to get that loss. We talked about how it's hard for really, really young fighters to continue to win in the UFC because there's such a diversified skill set you have to learn in order to be able to be the most elite of elite. And, you know, that loss to Roxanne Modafferi. Modafferi is one of the, better fighters, I think, at 125 pounds. But, I mean, she beat Jillian Robertson. She beat J.J. Aldrich. She handled Hannah Cifers, no problem. And, oh, by the way, all 4 of her wins in the UFC, Jamie Colleen, Hannah Cifers, J.J. Aldrich, Jillian Robertson, all by knockout. When have we seen a 125-pound woman with knockout power like this? She trains at a great gym. So what I really like about a fighter who loses is when you train at a gym like Rufus Sport, you're training with the best strikers in the world and some of the best trainers in the world, but you're more likely to rebound off a loss. Learn from that loss and advance your career forward. I thought Maycee Barber at 21 years old was rushed as it was. And boy, she was rushed up the ladder. And imagine had she had beaten Modafferi. What was next? A title shot?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because they didn't have any contenders. Yeah. I mean, she would just get torched there. So this could be the best thing that happens for her career is that she got to take a step back, get back in the gym, learn a little bit more. I like Alexa Grasso's stand-up, but what is the one thing that we've learned about Alexa Grasso through her last 7 fights, which, by the way, have all alternated wins and losses, and she's off a win, so history tells us that she's due for a loss. Felice Herrig, Tatiana Suarez, Carla Esparza, what did they all do? They all bullied Grasso.
Yep.
They all bullied her. They were the aggressor. She wants to sit out there at range and use that kickboxing. She has a wonderful kicking game, Alexa Grasso. Wonderful footwork. And if you let her fight at a slow kickboxing pace, she will beat you. If you get aggressive and be the bully in there, she doesn't handle that well. I think Maycee Barber is going to come out and be a bully here Saturday night. I think she's really a live underdog.
Yeah, I've been staring at this one very, very hard. I'm a huge fan of Alexa Grasso, and I've got kind of a personal bias against Maycee Barber. I'm not a huge fan of hers, and it's kind of like she's the female Darren Till for me. The UFC pushed her so hard, and everybody was on her, and I just never got it. You know what I mean? I never got it, and she started to believe her own hype a little too much for me, and that's what kind of happened with Till. So that's where I'm sitting with Maycee Barber, but she made a really good move. She's now training with Bilal Muhammad. She's training with Juliana Payne.
That's right, in Chicago,
She's with these absolute killers right now, and that's a good move for her. very aggressive, walks her opponents down. And like you mentioned, she has got power at flyweight. The only problem for me is I need to see some improved striking defense from her because she's extremely hittable. You know, the JJ Aldrich fight, she was getting her ass kicked until she landed that shot. That was a big come from behind win because she did not look good in that fight. She doesn't move her head at all. She just stays center line and comes down the pipe at you and expects to land the shot that puts you down. And if she hasn't figured that out in this time off, if she looks the same, Grasso's going to pick her apart. Grasso's boxing is incredibly sharp.
Really
and
good.
She's got a nice big right cross, a good double jab. The only thing I noticed with Grasso is she's very vulnerable to the counter left hook. And Barber wings those big meat hooks. I think I'm going to look under in this fight, you guys. I don't think I'm going to bother picking a side. We've got a women's MMA fight where it's juiced to hell on the over, minus 270 for this thing to go over 2.5. And I think I might jump on that plus 205, plus 210 to go under 2.5 and expect one of these women to come out and really try to make a statement and put their opponent away. They've both got killer instinct. They're both willing to trade. I've seen them both rocked. I've seen them both hurt. They have defensive efficiencies. I think someone is going to get shown to be not quite the contender yet, and in a big way. I kind of like the violence here.
I don't hate that at all. You know Maycee Barber is going to come out and throw, which is going to leave her open for a counter because Grasso is an excellent counter striker. And it's going to leave Grasso vulnerable because in the past, she hasn't liked being bullied. Felicia Herrig, I know people in the chat are saying, well, Suarez and Grasso are both better wrestlers than Barber, way better wrestlers. But you know who really wasn't a big-time wrestler? Felicia Herrig.
She was just stronger.
That's right. She just was stronger and wanted to fight more. Grasso's pretty passive at times if she can't counter your aggressiveness. I think this one's going to be interesting.
That's the one thing Barber's got in spades is aggression.
Oh, yeah. She's going to come out and let her rip. And I think this is going to be interesting. I don't have no idea what Barber's gas tank is going to be like. But she's going to come out and give it a run. And I think it's interesting here. I think Alexa Grasso's always been overvalued. She's never looked great in any of her wins. She's always a big favorite in some of her fights. I'm excited for this one. I do think for me it's dog or pass, but I actually like your point too that, look, Maycee Barber's tank might be literally empty, her gas tank, after round 2, and Grasso certainly has the striking technique to catch a charging Barber with a wide variety of counter hooks, straight right hand down the middle, or a head kick up top. By the way, Alexa Grasso has a brutal head kick up top.
She does. I think there's a lot of weapons for these two women, and honestly, both of them have shown problems with their durability. I've seen Maycee Barber hurt and rocked. She just has the ability to dig deep and swing back harder at her opponent. And the same thing, you know, Grasso, she got clipped bad in her last fight against Ji Young Kim. She got hurt several times in that fight, but Ji Young Kim just doesn't have any urgency. She's slow. She wanted to play the technical game. If Barber hurts Grasso, she's going to capitalize on it. If Barber slows down, Grasso will head kick the daylights out of her. I think there's a lot of ways that this fight can end. And don't forget, everybody, we're talking MMA. So they absolutely could go the other way here. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be an easy first-round casher or something. Women's fight more often than not. They go the distance. But getting 2-1 on it, I'll take that shot.
Yeah, I like that, actually. I'm much more interested in that after we kind of flushed it out. And the potential for this one to go under. And I feel like there's an automatic overvalue by odds makers now on women's fights totals.
Every time.
Just so high. And what we're seeing is more and more women are becoming finishers. And you can get these big value on unders.
Exactly. I talk about that. Perfect setup, Matt. Thank you for the setup there for my spike. I do a show right here on odds.com that we call Total Madness. It's going to come out on Wednesday or Thursday this week. I will go back through the card, and I'm only going to talk about overs and unders on the lines that are set and available. So look out for that later on this week. I'll tweet the link out. It'll pop up on the YouTube channel here at Odds HQ. But this is a spot that I feel like we've just got to talk about here on the show. we always talk about the women's being pushed to the over. It's over, 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 over because they just don't have the power. They're not as skilled. They're not as technical. That's changing. Women's MMA is growing. Stars like Grasso and like Barber are proof of that. And because of that, there's going to be spots, and this may be one of them, where we can take advantage of that bias. So I'm going to go ahead and try and cash in. I think I'm going to make that bet as soon as that total becomes available. Not every book opens up UFC totals early, so you may not be able to lock that in until Thursday or Friday. You'll have to kind of check around and see what you're available to get. Once I'm able to snag it, that's the way I'm looking.
I like it. I just may tell you.